Thanks so much, Alexa. Mayor Zohran Mamdani put New York on notice during his inauguration speech. While he focused on unity and solidarity, he also said it will not be business as usual in City Hall.
We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy. We will govern without shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe. I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist.
Well, the mayor didn't waste any time getting to work following his inauguration by visiting tenants in Brooklyn. And here with some insight into what we can expect from the new mayor's first 100 days in office is political analyst JC Polanco. So good morning to you, JC. Great to see you.
Good morning. Happy New Year. So happy to be here.
Yeah. So, I mean, he made no apologies. So unapologetic. He said, this is a new era. This is how I'm going to run this city. He says, I'm going to run it audaciously. But how much of his bold ideas is he going to actually be able to enact or even get started in the first 100 days?
Look, I think that yesterday was an exciting day for a lot of New Yorkers. I mean, we saw some amazing speeches, especially by public advocate Jumaane Williams and the controller, Mark Levine. So I think the future is bright for those two. And there was a lot of energy in that Black Party. So there is going to be a lot of energy behind Mayor Mamdani's first 100 days. I think that he needs a win. He made a lot of promises. And I think that the first win, I'm reading the tea leaves, and I think that the first thing he's going to come after is universal daycare. There is some buy-in from Governor Hochul, even in an election year, to consider that a reality. You know, daycare costs about $20,000 to $26,000 per child in New York City. It is very expensive. So the mayor promised that during the campaign. People are relying on that. They voted for him a lot because of that. And he mentioned something that was interesting yesterday about families not being afraid to have children because of the cost of daycare. I think the governor's on board. And I think that a lot of the senators and assembly members that are going to vote on this in Albany are going to consider this to be his first win, especially when Mayor Mamdani did so well in many of those Senate and Assembly districts. I would not want to be the senator or assembly member in Albany who votes against this, considering how well the mayor did in those districts, and how the Working Families Party yesterday said that now that same energy that took Mayor Mamdani to City Hall is going to divert its attention to Albany. So I think it's going to be universal daycare.
Right. So among his big plans, of course, rent freeze, huge cornerstone of his campaign. We did see in the final days of Mayor Eric Adams' tenure, he installed some new members to the Rent Guidelines Board. If those members don't quite jive with Mayor Mamdani's vision, could he override those members?
The tea leaves again. There they go. They won't jive with the rent freezes, considering that these landlords, a lot of them are small mom and pop shops, and they have to pay for maintenance, taxes, energy costs. Those things are not frozen. I can see the Rent Guidelines Board has to follow the law. And the law says that you have to consider cost of living, you have to consider the property taxes and those maintenance charges that landlords are facing before deciding on a rent freeze. So chances are the Rent Guidelines Board is not going to deliver that. And the law is clear. The Rent Guidelines Board is independent. So the mayor cannot just override the decision of the board. His power is on setting the agenda and making appointments to the board. But if the board decides, considering the math, that they cannot freeze the rent, he can't simply overturn their decision.
Now, obviously, his mind is on affordability. What do you make of his executive orders yesterday, bringing back the mayor's office to protect tenants? So what do you think, what kind of message is he trying to send?
Send a message loud and clear. He got rid of most of the executive orders after Mayor Adams was indicted September of last year, as we saw. So like President Trump, executives, when they have the opportunity, they will issue executive orders to set the agenda, to set the tone. And quite frankly, with what we saw yesterday, it seems as if those executive orders he signed are in line with a lot of the promises that he made, especially around housing and tenants' rights and tenants' protections. There were some pushbacks because, as you know, Mayor Adams did sign some executive orders dealing with anti-Semitism. And when he got rid of the executive orders in September of 24, a lot of those included anti-Semitic proposals that Mayor Adams proposed proposed. But then towards the end of the day yesterday, considering the pushback that Mayor Mamdani felt, he went ahead and just changed a couple of those and let some of those stay. These executive orders carry the weight of the law with one exception, that future mayors can just get rid of executive orders as opposed to city laws. So we're going to see Mayor Mamdani issue even more executive orders, very similar to what President Trump did in January of last year when he got in.
Right. We know much of Mamdani's kind of swearing-in process has been unique, from the backdrop to his speech. And in his inauguration speech, he kind of outlined a new approach to power. Let's take a listen.
I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this: if you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor.
JC, in that speech, he kind of went right after the private sector, really pushing his plan for free and faster buses. But in that speech, in doing so, do you think he's alienating the people that could actually push his plan forward?
There's no question about it. Look, Mayor Mamdani is charismatic, has $1 billion smile, and as I said on this program, I thought I had a great smile. It's incredible how he's able to captivate so many people with the understanding that 46% of our city budget is covered by the top 1% earners in New York City. I'm thinking if you're proposing universal daycare that could cost anywhere along the lines of $15 billion, when you're proposing free buses, which is going to cost about $1 billion in lost revenue, you got to keep in mind that we need to keep some of these people. And who are the most people that could just easily leave New York City because they have the funds to be able to do so? It's the top 1%. So he has to recognize that although they were his piñata during the campaign, he's going to need them here to fund his programs, especially the social programs that he's pushing. And also keep in mind that he's an ideologue, and a lot of people love that, but this is a city in which about half of New Yorkers voted against him. So his first 100 days, in addition to looking for wins, he has to look to unite the city, especially when you consider that he got about 50% point something, not exactly a mandate. So focus your attention on uniting the city and showing the half of the city that voted against you that you're competent, that you're experienced, that you're going to surround yourself with the very best, and that you're not exactly going to be that ideologue that we saw during the last several months. I know that his base is excited about some of the socialist proposals, but he has to think about New York City first. And New York City is a capitalist city, the most important city on earth, and he needs to be able to unite everyone. And keep in mind that we need these wealthy folks to help us pay the bills, especially the big bills that he's gonna have at the end of the day. Because if not, then we're gonna be left with paying that bill, and that would be a nightmare because I ain't got no money.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. It'll be very interesting too, because I think people also forget how young he is. He's 35 years old. And it'll also be interesting to see having another first lady in the House again with Rama, his wife.
This is exciting. The youth is exciting. I think he's 34.
34.
That's exciting, and a lot of us were concerned about the lack of experience. So that's the issue. It's not his youth, because the founders of this amazing country were young folks, and if you take a look at a lot of countries around the world, they're young, energetic people. But can he show the city that he's ready to govern the most important city on earth? And if you remember, like I mentioned on this program, you have over 300,000 employees. You have a $120 billion budget. You have 30,000 cops, 1 million kids in our public schools. Do you have the gravitas? And that's what we want to see in the first 100 days, that you could command that. And now you're here. So this is what it's about. And it's incredible. At this point last year, who even knew about an Assemblyman Mamdani? Today, he's the CEO of the most important city on earth. God bless America. Right?
Exactly. 2026 will be a big and very telling year.
JC, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy New Year.